Broadcasting live from the center of the universe. It's Business School Without the BS. Featuring optometrist turned entrepreneur, Dr. Robert Zellner, with USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark.
1980 was the year of my conception. From the dorm room founded DJ Connection. Entrepreneur of the Year in 07. On my path to the top, I learned a lot of lessons. Kicked out of college writing a parody rap. Dissed ORU like a Trump and Rosie recap. I've been known for getting stuff done, not giving a crap. And for jocking up wins while my competition nap. Now it is the Thrivetime show on your radio. Catch the broadcast or the podcast download. If you got a business, we'll help it grow. God's got a plan you just didn't yet know about. Workflows, systems, scripts, and hiring. Motivating yourself when you need inspiring. These faces made for radio and not TV. Talking everything from Clay to Z. Auto washes, banks, haircuts, and glasses. You want to sell it, we've already sold it to the masses. No classes or prerequisites. Just business school as raw as it gets.
It's a Thrivetime show on the radio. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. It's all about you. 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 Yeah.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio. My name is Clay Clark, the former United States Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year, and a man who once started DJ Connection out of my college dorm room. And when I started DJConnection.com, I did not have enough money to start the business, nor did I have the connections needed to start the business. Chup, when I decided to start DJ Connection, I didn't have the 3 C's.
You had nothing.
I didn't have the capital, I didn't have the counsel or the coaching, and I didn't have the connections. And when I started DJ Connection, there wasn't a coaching program like ours around.
Right.
And all the programs that were around, I mean, I called to get a logo. I remember calling just to get a quote to make a logo. And these companies are charging me $2,000 for a logo. I said, well, hey, what about a quote for a website? $12,000 was my quote. Wow. I remember getting a quote to make a video for the website. No joke. The quote to make the video for my business back in the day was over $5,000.
Holy cow!
And so I thought, man, someday, if I ever figure this out, I would like to kind of, if I ever figure out how to get to the mountaintop, I'd like to create a path that's easier for other people to get to the top, because I'm discovering that a lot of the things I'm learning en route to building DJConnection.com, a lot of these moves and systems are applicable to all different industries. I mean, every industry needs a logo or a website or a one sheet or a script or an outbound.
Right.
And so I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to someday... I'm going to someday go back and help people that are kind of stuck where I was.
We want to extend those bootstraps for you.
Oh.
A little lengthen them out so they're easier to grab a hold of.
That analogy will make sense more to me in about 10 minutes. Wow. I'll get deeper into my head.
That's the way I like to do it.
You don't even have to lean down to pull up the bootstraps.
They're just there.
Now, for those people out there who aren't aware, Jonathan Kelly gave me a copy of Think and Grow Rich this Christmas. It's a super Christmas gift because, Chup, it's the autographed 1945 edition by Napoleon Hill himself.
With a blue pin.
A blue pin.
The blue pin.
And so now we go to Chapter 3 as we're breaking down how you can find your definite chief aim and a lifetime of riches from Think and Grow Rich. So here we go. This is page number 17. It says, Chapter 1, the man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas Edison. Well, who's Thomas Edison? Thomas Edison is the guy who invented the light bulb. He stole it from Tesla. Okay, if you think he stole it from Tesla, that's fine. I'll give that one to you. But he also invented video, motion picture. Really? He also invented recorded sound. Wow, he's kind of a big deal. That's right. And Chup, can you look this up real quick because we're going to need this information.
You know it.
Can you look up East Orange? Where is the East Orange Laboratory located? So this is what it says. Truly, thoughts are things, and the powerful things that when they are mixed with a definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for the translation into riches and other material objects. Let me read it again. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with a definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. Back to you, Chup. Have you found where the East Orange Laboratory was located?
I have not. There is actually like East Orange Laboratories in East Orange, New Jersey. So
there it is. There it is, New Jersey. Okay, I just want to make sure the Thrive Nation's getting this. Okay.
Shout out to Dr. Ronke and Foundation Pediatrics in East Orange, New Jersey, a client of ours.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Are you saying that we have a client we're working with that's in East Orange?
Yeah. A pediatrician.
That's too good.
Woo!
That's too good.
Doctor.
A doctor.
I tell you what, during the break, I'm going to light some pinion wood to celebrate that unbelievable twist of events there. So what happens is this guy named Edward Barnes, he thinks to himself, I'm hearing all about this Edison guy. I think I want to go work for him. No. I want to get into partnership with him. No. I'm going to get into partnership with him. And so it came little by little, but over time he started developing this burning desire to become a business partner with Edison. And so in the book it reads, one of the chief characteristics of Barnes' desire was that it was definite. He wanted to work with Edison, not for him. Observe carefully the description of how he went about translating his desire into reality, and you'll have a better understanding of the 13 principles which lead to riches. Here's the thing: is you can't let things that you cannot let the things you can't do keep you from doing the things that you can do. So let's think about that for a second. So Barnes wants to go into partnership with Thomas Edison. Now he could not afford a ticket to get on a train to get there. So how do you guys think that Barnes went about getting to the physical location of Edison? He didn't have money to afford a ticket. So, Chubb, how do you think he got there?
He walked.
He walked.
That's my guess.
Okay, that'd be his guess.
He snuck on the train.
Okay, so we're going to go with, to this morning, we're going to be giving away, this afternoon, we're giving away points. We're giving away points. So the points we're going to give away, each point will be redeemable for nothing tangible, but a nice feeling.
I like that.
So here we go again. So Eric Chubb, business coach, if you had to guess, how did Thomas Edison get to East Orange if he did not have the money to buy a train ticket? Back to you.
He walked.
He did not walk, which means you actually owe the host of the show a tangible $5. Now remember, if you win, you don't actually get
these rules. Are
you don't get any money, but if you do get, if you don't get a tangible prize.
You see how he waited until I got it wrong to tell me I owed him money?
But if you doesn't have any money.
But if you do get it right, what you do get is you get points that are not redeemable in heaven. So Steve, for a chance to win these unbelievable points that are redeemable in heaven.
What was this guy's name again?
Barnes.
Barnes. Okay.
Now, real quick, if you go to heaven and it turns out there's not a purgatory, it turns out that you meet anybody who's actually described in the Bible, they won't know about these points.
Oh.
But if it turns out that everything that I believe is not real, I'll be there to give you these points in person. Gotcha. So, again, for a chance to win points redeemable in heaven, only if heaven is not real, and I'm there to meet you as a result of poor choices we've both made. How did Barnes get to New Jersey?
I think maybe it's called a stowaway, but I think he snuck on the train without a ticket.
Oh, that's right. So what he did...
You would have that mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Steve would do something like that.
Oh, yeah. I did it to get to the radio show today. That's how I got here.
Page 18, this is what he said. This is what the book says here from Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It says, he was so determined to find a way to carry out his desire that he finally decided to travel by blind baggage rather than be defeated. To the uninitiated, this means that he went to East Orange on a freight train.
Ooh.
Oh.
Blind baggage.
You win. He presented himself at Mr. Edison's laboratory and announced that he had come to go into business with the inventor. And speaking of the first meeting between Barnes and Edison, Edison said, he stood there before me looking like an ordinary tramp, but there was something in the expression in his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after. I had learned from years of experience with men that when a man really desires a thing so deeply that he's willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel in order to get it, he is sure to win. I gave him the opportunity he asked for because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded. Subsequent events proved that was no mistake. So Barnes, think about this for a second. He was willing to travel on a train, basically sneak his way onto a train without knowing somebody, and then just get to East Orange, not knowing anybody or how it was going to work after he got there.
It's a pretty big deal.
Some people say that's crazy. Like they would say, he's crazy.
No, but that's a huge thing. Is that not? How many people would be willing to do that?
Not a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Especially back then, right? Even in today's age, when you can get online and get your cell phone and whatever, but especially back then, you won't talk to your family, your friends forever, I'm sure.
So I want to give you some examples of other people who've done this, and then I would like to share with you the DJ connection story. So here we go. Think about this. Oprah, she just interned. She said, you guys aren't hiring? I'd like to intern. And she interned, and she interned, and she interned some more. And because she was an African-American, they would not let her on the TV. And then one day, one of the main hosts couldn't be there. And so they said, hey, Oprah, you got a shot. But you know how she got the shot? It's because she constantly prepared. And when everybody left the set, Oprah continued to practice. Remember, when they left the set, Oprah would hop in front of the camera and pretend like she was on live and would practice the lines and would pretend as though the pressure of being on live TV was real. And she kept doing that. And so people started noticing, like, wow, she's actually getting good. And then when they finally, her one shot came after interning for a long time, she was ready. Another example that comes to my mind is Ed Sheeran. You guys know the Ed Sheeran story? You guys know, Steve, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
A little fun knowledge. So here's a little Ed Sheeran story for you. Ed Sheeran had heard that Jamie Foxx, the musician, got his start by throwing a party. What? So what happens is Jamie Foxx had a role on the TV show, the hit show, Living Color, but he wanted to get a record deal. Chup, are you aware of this story?
Slightly. I've heard it before.
So what he did is he actually found that Puff Daddy was around L.A. Attending parties, and so he just starts taking photos of him. Steve, have you heard this story?
No.
He starts taking photos of Puff Daddy, and people are like, who are you? He goes, I want to be your next camera guy. I want to be your paparazzi. I want to be your publicist photo guy, because everybody needs good photos when you go out. A lot of it's getting that right branding, and he goes, I'm an expert at photography. I'll take your photos for free. Now, what's funny is that he had never taken photos before. He just straight up grabbed a camera and started taking photos. And so Puff Daddy was like, yeah, sure, man. So over time, he became good friends with Puff Daddy. And Puff Daddy would throw parties that usually would cost $1 million.
Yeah.
A party would take $1 million. And what he would do is he would invite all the celebrities to L.A., and Puff Daddy kept growing his branding and his fame as a result of throwing parties. I want to make sure you understand that. This is how Puff Daddy became a billionaire, was by throwing parties over and over and over. And what he'd do is he'd attract the who's who, aspiring artists, musicians, models, actors, people, and he would just get deals. And he's very good at getting people together and getting deals.
That's crazy.
And so Jamie Foxx challenges him and says, here's the deal. I bet you that I could throw a bigger party than you could throw, but I'm only going to spend $1,000. So you spent $1 million. I bet you if I spend $1,000, my party will be better than your party.
Shots fired.
And it's only going to be $1,000. And Puff's like, because Puff knew him at this point pretty well because he's working for free as his photographer. He says, here's the deal. I don't think it's possible. And Jamie says, here's the deal. I will throw the party, and it will be bigger than any party that you've ever done, better than any party you've ever done, that you spend $1 million on. However, I need you to promise me that you will attend the party. And Puff says, you know what? I will attend your party. Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, hip-hop billionaire. I will attend your party if you throw it. I promise you. I'll be there. And he goes, you promise? Yep. All right. It's on. And we come back. I'll tell you more about the Jamie Foxx story and how Jamie Foxx worked his way into a partnership with Puff Daddy, just like Barnes worked his way into a partnership with Edison, just like I worked myself into a deal with Boeing Airlines when I was running DJ Connection. My name's Clay Clark. I'm a business coach. Get your conference tickets today by going to thrivetimeshow.com. You can buy the tickets there for $99 a piece. Or if you want to get free conference tickets, just subscribe to us on iTunes. Subscribe to the Thrive Time Show on iTunes. Leave us a review and send us proof you did it to info@thrive15.com, and we'll get those free tickets to you. Stay tuned. It's the Thrive Time Show on your radio.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
Yes, sir. It's Z and Clay, broadcasting from the box in the 918. Business school in the topic today. Check the syllabus, it's getting you paid. Making the business boom is what we do. You can do it, let us show you. I'm a father of five with maniacal focus to teach the proven moves, no hocus pocus. Cause get rich quick is not a move, but the proven system will make your life improve. See, I'm more than just a rhymer, like a horse with blinders. Focused on the Thrive Time Show is where you find us. He be the Z and I be the C. Teaching business skills from Clay to Z. We both grew up poor, but we're poor no more. The goal of this show is to help you score. I couldn't see the light until my son could see, but I learned to rock the mic in the high school scene. A young DJ with a $1 billion dream. Numb to the pain that rejection brings. So I, like a sod farmer, sweating for that green. Now I'm on your radio with a thank you and please. Share this podcast with a friend and enemy. Now let's talk some business from A to Z.
It's a Thrivetime show on the radio. Yes, it is.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back. It is the Thrivetime show on your radio. Big shout out to Mr. Merton, the praise and worship leader from the Metropolitan Baptist Church, for singing the hook on the new Thrivetime show.
Would you say he might be Captain Hook?
For certain.
Are you ready for another edition of the Thrivetime show? Are you ready? Okay, so here we go. So Barnes, who's Barnes? Who's thinking? What is Think and Grow Rich? What are we talking about?
What?
Yeah.
Well, Think and Grow Rich is the #1 self-help book of all time. And that book was re-gifted to me this year by Jonathan Kelly. He gave me a signed original 1945 edition of Think and Grow Rich, signed by Napoleon Hill himself. Napoleon Hill, by the way, was the business coach for Oral Roberts, who started Oral Roberts University. He was the personal apprentice of the world's wealthiest man. He actually wrote the speeches for FDR that got us out of the Depression. Do you understand that our own president was depressed? What? Yes. Look that guy up, Napoleon Hill. So his book, Think and Grow Rich, he's talking about how there's a guy on page 17 by the name of Barnes who wanted to become partners with Thomas Edison. But he didn't have any money, and he didn't know Thomas Edison. So what he did is he hopped on a train, snuck on the train, and he rode on a freight train to New Jersey.
All free.
And he pushed through the adversity of not knowing Edison or having the money. And I was telling you a story that's very parallel, because this story happens consistently in the lives of successful people. So what happens is Jamie Foxx decides he's going to become a partner of Puff Daddy. But he doesn't know Puff Daddy, so he decides, I am going to begin taking photos of the media mogul without his permission, just showing up and then asking him if I can become a member of his paid paparazzi. But he doesn't have to pay me. So I'm the one taking the flattering photos that will be sent to the media. And so eventually he gets up the courage. He starts taking photos. By the way, he has no photography skill, doesn't know anything about photography. And he ends up doing it. He ends up striking up a conversation with Puff. Puff agrees, hey, you know what? I will agree to definitely not pay you, but allow you to take photos of me for free for the media. Fine. So over time, he attends these massive parties, and Puff his constant move was to build his celebrity by having massive parties. So Puff is dropping over $1 million on the throwing of a party so celebrities can get together, and then Puff can pitch him deals. That's the whole plan. So what happens is that Jamie Foxx says, here's the challenge. I bet you I can throw a party that is much better than you could possibly throw, Puff. And Puff's very competitive. He goes, here's the deal. I can throw a party that's better than yours. The only thing is I need you to promise that you will attend so that you can witness it. And
he's only going to spend $1,000.
Right.
Compared to the $1 million.
And so he says, okay. Now remember, Jamie Foxx is living in L.A. in a small house, and here's where the fun begins. Steve, you'd love this. So Jamie Foxx cold calls an A-list celebrity and says, hey, are you coming to my party? She says, huh? Because he knew the numbers because he was on the Living Color TV show, which was popular, but he wasn't a big deal yet. Right. Jim Carrey was on the show, and other people outshined him. And they said, what, Jamie? He goes, I'm telling you, it's going to be a huge party, and Puff Daddy's going to be there. And they go, what? He goes,
He did?
He goes, Puff's throwing the party at my house. They go, oh, I'll be there. So then he calls another celebrity and says, did you hear that Puff and this other A-list celebrity are going to be there? Are you going to be at the party that Puff is throwing at my house? You see, just change the words. The party that Puff is throwing at my house.
Right.
So he keeps doing this. He calls Kanye West, who had just produced some beats for Jay-Z. He says, Kanye, here's the deal, man. Puff is throwing a party at my house. He goes, how come I didn't hear about that? I'm just telling you, I don't want you to miss out. It's going to be huge. And he says, here's the deal, though. We're going to do the whole party for under $1,000. So it's going to be like back in the day, because we all struggled to get here. It's going to be like a party where we kick it old school. I'm going to get like chicken wings, and we're going to have like Kool-Aid with like vodka in it. And it's going to be, we're going to have purple drink. And Kanye says, purple drink?
I'm there.
So all these people are like, oh, I get it. So it's like a throwback party of like what it was like before we hit it. Like, oh, that's sick. That Puff's a genius. So he keeps calling. Long story short, the day of the party gets there. Puff rolls up in one of his luxury vehicles, probably a Bentley or whatever. His whole crew is paparazzi, follows him around. He gets into his house. This is like a normal house, and it is packed. Thousands of people are inside, outside. It's just crazy. And so this is what happens. Jamie Foxx had a studio in his basement or in part of his home, you know?
Right.
And so he pulls Kanye aside and says, hey, Kanye, I've been working on this beat, man. Could you come on and would you hop in the box and throw down a couple bars? And Kanye prides himself on having the ability to freestyle.
Right.
So he's like, what are you saying? I just want to see how good you are, man. You just want to see, can you come back in the studio and just, he goes, absolutely. So he starts rapping. Now, you ever heard the song? It's called, you've heard it on the radio. Let me see here. Marvin Gaye, Vandross, and we'll type in Marvin Gaye, Vandross, and then we'll put in Kanye West, and we'll type in Jamie Foxx, and we'll find the title of the Slow Jams. So anyway, this is the song. This is how it happened. And so Kanye says, okay, so let's go ahead and play the track. He plays it and hears Kanye, he hears Kanye hears Jamie Foxx singing. And he goes, dude, you are good. And he goes, well, actually, I wanted to be a musician, but I just couldn't get my musical career to take off, so I did acting as kind of a backup. But he goes, you put this together? He goes, yeah. He goes, all right, man, I'll throw it down. So he wrote his lyrics. Jamie Foxx sang the hook, and then he got Puff Daddy to hear it, and Puff's like, man, you're good. And he's like, yes. Now, this is at a party. The whole party was thrown so that Puff could hear him and Kanye could throw down lyrics.
Right.
Whoa.
Then when the party's over, this is what happened. This is how Jamie Foxx's music career started. He started cold calling radio stations and seeing if they would play the new jam that was produced by Puff featuring Kanye West. And they're like, because Kanye's the hottest artist at the time. Like,
Yeah.
If you want to come into the studio, man, we'll play it for you. So he gets in his car and drives around to every hip-hop station in America and hands the CD to him, and they play it on the radio, and then he's there for the interview. He physically gets in the car and uses the celebrity to get a record deal, and that is how Jamie Foxx got his music deal. So what's the point? The point is whether you're Barnes trying to become a partner of Edison or you're somebody who wants to become a partner of Puff Daddy, you've got to start with the tools you have. You can't let the things that you don't have keep you from doing the things that you can do. And when we come back, I really want to get Eric Chupp's take on this as a business coach. And I'd love for you to brag on a client who, has been resourceful.
Oh, yeah.
And has decided to, because the Thrivetime business coaching program is only $1,500 a month, which is the equivalent of paying an employee $8.25 an hour. It's the equivalent impact on your business of hiring just one $8 per hour employee for a month. I mean, that's what it costs. And you get videographers, photographers, web developers, search engine optimizers. We had somebody out there, a member of the Thrive Nation, who reached out to us and learned the principles they needed, and they reached out and they decided to hire us to be their business coach. And Eric Chupp has tons of success stories, but I'd like for him to brag specifically on one of our Thrivetime show business coach clients when we come back from the break. Because it's not about resources, it's about being resourceful. Because once you enter into the program, you're going to have access to everything. Photographers, videographers, web developers, but you ultimately have to take action. My name's Clay Clark. I'm a business coach. Stay tuned.
Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show on Talk Radio 1170. Broadcasting live from the center of the universe. It's Business School Without the BS. Featuring optometrist turned entrepreneur, Dr. Robert Zellner, with USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio as we head here into the new year. Just days away from celebrating the new year and potentially a new you. You see, there's so many people out there, myself included, because I remember how I was, 19 years ago, where you're not happy with where you are, but when you're asked directly, where do you want to be, you can't answer the question. You're not happy with where you're at.
Right.
But if someone said, where do you want to be, you couldn't tell them. And so Napoleon Hill, in the book Think and Grow Rich, he's articulating on page 17. He's talking about how how Edwin Barnes went into a partnership with Thomas Edison. So how non-doctor Edwin C. Barnes, like everybody else, he's not a doctor, how he went into partnership with Thomas Edison. And here's what it says from the book. It says, Edwin C. Barnes discovered how true it is that men really do think and grow rich. His discovery did not come about at one sitting. It came little by little, beginning with a burning desire to become a business associate of the great Edison. One of the chief characteristics of Barnes' desire was that it was definite. He wanted to work with Thomas Edison, not for him. Observe carefully the description of how he went about translating his desire into reality, and you will have a better understanding of the 13 principles which lead to riches. he did not know Mr. Edison, and he did not have enough money to pay his railroad fare to Orange, New Jersey. These difficulties were sufficient to have discouraged the majority of men from making any attempt to carry out the desire. But this was no ordinary desire. He was so determined to find a way to carry out his desire that he finally decided to travel by blind baggage, aka stowaway, rather than to be defeated. To the uninitiated, this means that he went to East Orange on a freight train. He presented himself at Mr. Edison's laboratory and announced that he had come to go into business with the inventor. Just what young Barnes said to Mr. Edison on that occasion was far less important than that which he thought. Edison himself said so. It could not have been the young man's appearance which got him his start in the Edison office, for that was definitely against him. It was what he thought that counted. If the significance of this statement could be conveyed to every person who reads it, there would be no need for the remainder of the book. The point is, he just showed up and said, I'd like to be in partnership with you. And he says, well, how'd you get here? He says, I traveled here on the train because I could not afford to buy a ticket. Okay. And how long are you prepared to work here? He says, until we become partners.
Nice.
Do you understand the idea that he said until we become partners?
That's grit, determination.
But that's the same exact resourcefulness that Jamie Foxx used to get in fellowship and to become a friend of Puff Daddy. It's the exact same system. Now, Ed Sheeran, this is where the Ed Sheeran story ties in. Ed Sheeran heard about this story, and he was living on the other side of the world. Okay, so Ed Sheeran heard this story, but he wasn't living in America. So Ed Sheeran heard the story that Jamie Foxx just started working for free for Puff Daddy. And so here's what happens is Ed Sheeran buys a ticket to L.A. and doesn't know where Jamie Foxx lives and doesn't know Jamie Foxx. Do you know the story?
Yeah.
So he just shows up at Jamie Foxx's house one day by asking people, where does he live? Do you know where he lives? Do you know where he lives? So he just shows up outside of the gate. The gate opens. Jamie Foxx comes out, says, I'm sure he's going to work or whatever he's doing. And he's like, who are you? He says, my name's Ed Sheeran, and I'm here because I want to get a record deal with you. And he's like, do I know you? No. Who set this up? Nobody, but I really am passionate. I'd like to play a demo right now if it's okay. I brought my guitar with me, and if I could just play a demo, I think if you heard me, I think you would understand. I really need a break. I just want a chance. And so Jamie Foxx is like, all right, go for it. So he just played right there, and if you've ever heard Ed Sheeran live, it's a face-melting experience.
Pretty amazing. Just him and a guitar.
Yeah. And so Jamie says, well, here's the deal. You can live with me. So Ed Sheeran didn't know him, and he just starts living with Jamie Foxx. True story, and that's how Ed Sheeran got his deal.
It's amazing.
Wow.
So it requires that sort of dedication. But can you think of an example of a client that we've worked with, Chup, that has really just said, you know what, I don't know how it all works, but I'm going to reach out to you guys with the Thrive program. Because if you read about it online and you read the reviews, the program, there's no smoke and mirror to it. It will cost you less money than it would cost to hire one $8.25 per hour employee, and yet you get access to all the resources that Dr. Z and I have, the photography, the videography, the web development, the search engine optimization. But then once you get access to all these resources, it ultimately gets down to being resourceful, and will you actually execute the proven plan? So
right.
Can you think of a client that's executed the proven plan?
Yeah, so one that I can think of right now is the guys over at Keystone Harbor, Ron and Dustin and Travis
Ron.
over there. So whenever we started working with them, it was right in the middle of the summer, right in their heavy season. And what they had going on, they had a bunch of new boats and jet skis and rentals that last year just didn't do much.
Can I clarify this real quick?
Please.
I think some listeners might have just kind of got lost there. You just said they have a bunch of nude boats?
Yes, they're boats that don't wear clothing.
Are you allowed to be nude on a boat? Is that actually
well, it's not you, it's the boat that's nude.
Yeah, the boat can be nude.
Oh, the boat is nude.
It's more of a psychological
Did you
nudity.
say new or nude?
New.
Oh,
Brand
okay,
new.
continue.
Thank you,
Sorry,
thank you.
I was hung up on that.
Naked. Somebody said nude.
What kind of business coaches are these guys?
Stop the show. I heard nude. We need to stop right now.
So they had the new fleet of boats and jet skis and everything, and they came to us and they were looking, hey, how do we increase the rentals on these things? And so we got started with them on the idea of we needed to create a no-brainer. So we had a
No-brainer.
no-brainer offer is an offer to get the potential buyer, ideal and likely buyer, in front of you. It has to be an offer so good that the brain cannot say no. And so what we did is we came up with a bunch of offers for, rent a jet ski, get one for free, rent a boat for $1 for your first hour. And what happened was that, at first you're a little bit like, ooh, that's, we're not getting any money off of this. But what they came to understand was that, hey, people come out there, then they rent extra hours, or they go to the restaurant at the harbor and they eat lunch. So
And we also got them to the top of Google.
Correct. For all kinds of terms, boat rentals, for Oklahoma marinas, for things like that. So they bought into the system, they understood, and after time and diligence and dedication, like we were just talking with Ed Sheeran, they had an awesome summer. They had a record-breaking summer.
A record-breaking summer over there at Keystone Harbor.
That's
Big
right.
shout out to you guys. Now here's where it comes back.
Full circle.
The circle. You helped them create a no-brainer.
Yep.
And we come back. I'd like for Steve Currington to explain what a good no-brainer is. But we have a no-brainer. A good example right now, the Thrivetime show.
We really do.
Tickets. Can you explain what the no-brainer is?
Yeah, so if you're out there, if you will subscribe to Thrivetime Show on iTunes or Stitcher, subscribe Thrivetime Show, iTunes or Stitcher. Subscribe, leave a review. Okay, leave a review for us. Take a screenshot of that review and send it to info@thrive15.com. info@thrive15.com. We'll give you 2 free $99 tickets to the February 16th and 17th workshop.
So we'll give you
free tickets.
2 free tickets, and all you have to do is leave us a review on iTunes.
A review,
or Stitcher.
email the screenshot to info@thrive15.com, and those tickets are yours, babies.
Awesome. And then when is the big conference?
February 16th and 17th. It's a Friday-Saturday combo.
If you are listening to the show today and you feel stuck and you just don't know how to get to you 2.0, how to take your business to the next level, we highly recommend you come out to the conference. But more importantly than that, you need to write down today. Take a moment and just write down, where do I want to be? If I'm so unhappy with where I am right now,
right,
where do I want to be this time next year? And it all starts with thinking and then growing. As we break it down today, the book Think and Grow Rich, I challenge you to take a quick time out and to think about where you want to be this time next year. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio. When we come back, more breakdowns of the Think and Grow Rich book. Stay tuned.
Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show.
He be the Z and I be the C. Teaching business skills from Clay to Z. We both grew up poor, but we're poor no more. The goal of this show is to help you score. I couldn't see the light until my son could see, but I learned to rock the mic in the high school scene. A young DJ with a $1 billion dream, numb to the pain that rejection brings. So I, like a sod farmer, sweating for that green. Now I'm on your radio with a thank you and please share this podcast with a friend and enemy. Now let's talk some business from Clay to Z.
It's a Thrivetime Show on the radio.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio or your podcast download. My name is Clay Clark. I'm the former USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year, the father of 5 incredible humans, and I am super excited to be breaking down the book Think and Grow Rich with you. And right now we're going to be reintroducing page number 18 of the book Think and Grow Rich. And this is the part of the book that I think is so the whole book itself is powerful, but this is the part that blows my mind. Napoleon Hill says, if the significance of this statement could be conveyed to every person who reads it, there would be no need for the remainder of the book. Well, what statement did you make? He says, just what young Barnes said to Edison on that occasion was far less important than that which he thought. Edison himself said so. It could not have been the young man's appearance which got him his start in the Edison office, for that was definitely against him. It was the thought that counted. I want to make sure you get this. So Barnes wanted to become a partner with Thomas Edison. That would be the equivalent of me saying, I want to become a partner today with Jeff Bezos. Because Thomas Edison was, like one of the top 10 wealthiest people on the planet at the time. He's the man. He's the top inventor, the top guy. He's the dude. I mean, he was the guy behind GE. He's developing the light bulb, recorded audio, recorded video. I mean, he's unbelievable.
Pretty smart fella.
This would be like anybody listening to the show today saying, I really do want to get the chance to go into partnership with Jeff Bezos. So he didn't let the fact he didn't have money or that he didn't know him get in the way. He just first knew, I know Thomas Edison is going to be at his laboratory and in Orange, New Jersey, so I'm just going to go there. And so he didn't have enough money to buy a ticket, so he hops on the train and basically is like a stowaway. He just sneaks his way onto the train, and he gets there. But when he finally got a chance to meet Thomas Edison, he explained to him, I want to become a partner with you, so I've come here to work for you for free, and I'm prepared to do this until I become your partner. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm totally committed. I've committed myself to the idea. And what Napoleon Hill's hammering home there is that if you are not 100% committed and sold out to your dream, you're never going to get it. And I remember the first holiday parties I booked when I was growing DJ Connection. I called up all the big companies. I called up Boeing. I called up United Airlines. I called up Southwest Airlines. You're focused a lot on the aircraft, didn't you, buddy? Well, Tulsa had a big aerospace part of this. It still does, but
It's
it was
his
much,
niche.
Well, it was much aerospace was much bigger in Tulsa back in the day. It still has a presence, but it used to be a big thing. And so I cold called all the businesses in Tulsa. But I remember I talked to the guy at United Airlines, and he said, we already have a DJ booked for this year. Here's my pitch. I said, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best and 1 being the worst, how happy are you with your current DJ, from last year? And he says, well, like a 6. And I said, well, so if I could take it to a 10, would you hire me? He goes, yeah, but we already paid the guy. And I said, okay. Well, if I do your party for $1, can I do it? And he goes, so you mean you're not going to get paid anything at all? And I said, well,
$1?
Yeah. And he goes, well, how do I know you're going to show up? I mean, if I pay you $1, what if you just, what if you're motivated today, but then you're not motivated? And I said, well, I'll sign a contract. He said, so you'll sign a contract stating that you'll refund me beyond $1, you'll refund me the cost of the other DJ if you don't show up. And I said, yeah. And he goes, why? I said, because I want to earn your business, like long term. Like I'm committed. Like I'm totally sold out to the idea of being your disc jockey. The same pitch for Boeing, same pitch for Southwest Airlines.
It works, huh?
Same pitch for Warren Caterpillar, UPS. Yeah, it works. Just Bama Pie. Turns out when you have that fire of desire that is required to inspire, you will not lose.
That's right.
But what happens is if you don't have that white-hot desire or passion to do something, you just won't do it. See, most people would have stopped at the point where they said, well, I want to be his partner, but I don't have a ticket.
But he's in New Jersey.
I
can't get there.
I want to be a partner, but I don't know him. A lot of people, most people would stop right there. Now, a guy who has not stopped right there is Steve Currington, the legendary mortgage guru in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's a guy that if you're doing a Google search for Tulsa mortgages, you'll find him there near the top of page 1. It's Total Lending Concepts. And at Total Lending Concepts, Steve, you've done so well with Total Lending Concepts that one of your passions is buying exotic cars.
Right.
So at last count, you have the Bentley that you drive around.
Yeah, right.
And you have the Lamborghini that you drive around.
Yep.
Why do you have these vehicles?
It's like in my goals list, number 1, drive really fast in my Lamborghini or my Bentley, which I did yesterday with both of them. And then, say inappropriate things to my wife. It's like a thing.
Say inappropriate things.
Yeah. As much baby. As I can. And then no interruptions to my schedule. So I just have my goals, and that's one of them. It's like
no interruptions to your schedule?
I don't like to travel because it messes things up. You know?
Come on. Preach the good news.
So it's just, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want anybody to mess with my schedule. I don't want anything to be messed up because I have certain goals.
You set alarms on your phone all the time to make sure you don't miss appointments, don't you?
And then being on the
alarms.
radio show is like a big thing to me. So it's like one of the things that's like I have to do. Nothing needs to get in the way with that. But then we have a no-brainer like you were talking about.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you have a business, you want to create a no-brainer, an offer that's so good that the listener, the potential buyer, the ideal and likely buyer, the prospect, the person you're marketing to, that they can't say no because the deal is so good. I mean, you want to make a deal that's so good that the person listening says the benefit that I will receive as a result of this no-brainer is so good, that I simply cannot say no. Like
you'd have to not have a brain to be able to say no.
Like as an example, elephant in the room, and I want to get to Steve's no-brainer he's doing because this no-brainer I've never heard of a no-brainer
this good.
So good.
It's pretty amazing.
So many people want to develop a no-brainer and they don't know what to do. And I'll give you a couple examples leading up to this, In Tip Top Canine.
Oh, yes.
They're awesome.
Somebody got you a puppy, for Thanksgiving or Christmas. And the puppy, it looks cute, but it's
turns out it's a hound from hell.
And it's eating your shoes. You just bought some new shoes and it's eating your shoes.
Settle down.
And one of the things that I would
Get off my leg!
right. So what happens is you're trying to invite people over to visit family over.
Right.
But the dog is eating their apparel. It's eating their shoes. You always feel bad when your dog eats your guest's shoes.
Right.
Hey guys, can you take off the shoes when you come?
We just did the carpet washed, so it's
right. And then your dog eats the shoe. So a Tip Top Canine will offer you a $1 for your first training session, so you can see the program, and if you like it, and if you like the program, then you can do it. Another example would be Elephant in the Room, one of my companies. Full disclosure, I own that business. Elephant in the Room. If you're getting your mop chopped somewhere else, or you're saying, hey, I am trying to get a new gig, but I need to chop my wig. You're saying, hey, listen, I got to chop my mop. You're saying, hey, listen, I've got a lot of lettuce growing out of control on my cranium. You said, listen, I need to get a new haircut. I need to get a new haircut. There's got to be a better experience out there. But if you're saying, Elephant in the Room, I don't know. What if I don't like it? Well, then what happens is when you discover that at Elephant in the Room, the first time you get a haircut, it is $1.
Get out of here.
Why it's $1? It's so good. I can't say no. I want to say no. I can't say no, because it's like two brains arguing back and forth. Internally, there's conflict. I have to get my hair cut. I can't say no. Listen, we live like in Colorado. We can't possibly drive to Tulsa for a haircut. It doesn't matter. I have to do it. And then you drive back by a Sports Clips that you normally go to, and you say, it doesn't matter. I got to skip my appointment. And you just show up at Elephant in the Room, and you sit down, you get that $1 haircut.
Feels so good.
And that paraffin hand dip, and that hot towel treatment.
Oh, my God.
And pretty soon you realize, man, that no-brainer got me. Because that's a good no-brainer. And the Tip Top Canine is a great no-brainer.
You realize you're an executive because you get 2 add-ons.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But here's the thing is, you're a business owner right now, and you're trying to find a better no-brainer. A no-brainer that's going to get all your customers to say yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so before I digress, I pass it over to Steve Currington, who will impress as he unloads the most incredible no-brainer in the history of humanity. Steve, what do you got?
Full disclosure, I kind of stole this idea from Clay Clark.
Okay.
But the deal is if you do a mortgage with me.
So if I get a mortgage, if I'm buying a house and I use you to get my mortgage.
Me to get the loan.
SteveCurrington.com.
Yeah, just go to SteveCurrington.com and use me to do your loan. Then what I will do, if I get like another 100 people.
So if 100 people are willing to buy.
The first 100 people.
The first 100 people that use you to get a mortgage, what happens?
I buy another Lamborghini.
Yes!
Oh, yes!
Yes!
And then, but I want to do orange this time, so then I have 2 of
That's
them.
a no-brainer of a no-brainer right there.
And unlimited hugs for all the people.
So
Lambos and hugs.
So people could come to a conference or maybe see around town and drive around town going, I helped buy that.
Yeah.
That's an investment.
Look at that beautiful thing right there.
People can't, not everybody can say that. Not everybody can say that.
A lot of people want to brag about being one of the first investors, to invest in Facebook or Uber. You could say, I'm one of the first people to invest in that massively, very quickly depreciating non-asset.
Steve's third Lambo.
Oh, nice. I could do it. That's a no-brainer. Now, Thrivetime Nation, in all sincerity, if you're looking to take your marketing to the next level, you should attend our next in-person workshop. Now, here's the deal. The tickets are normally $99, but if you want to get your tickets today for free, just find us on iTunes. Find the Thrivetime Show on iTunes. Subscribe, leave us a review, and send us proof to info@thrive15.com, and we'll send you free 2 conference tickets. Stay tuned.